Well, well, well. Greetings, Gemini. This is your month, more or less. And this is Tarot Lumination with your love and relationship June 2017 report. That's you, Gemini. That's the significant other, okay? Whether it's like a mystery person who doesn't exist yet, but they're in your energy field because of what you're resonating and attracting, law of attraction and all that, or whether you've been in a 20-year marriage, whatever it is. Please, I ask you, almost if you can, before even watching this report, that you go and watch the June Love and Relationship All Signs Introduction little video, because it'll give you a better idea of how and why Tarot Illumination is doing the reports this way, with this kind of spread in this kind of manner, okay? And then, of course, you read for your sun, moon, and rising, because that's what seems like people do. And it makes a lot of sense, because I see it here in the feedback. So I can understand the connection between the astrology and the tarot, but I've been setting aside quite a bit of astrology recently, simply because of limitations on time and having to prioritize for what we're actually like focusing on here, which is the little tarot. Bare bones, stripped down, okay? Don't do any flyers, jumpers. I don't do reversals. And this month I don't even have any angel cards, nothing. It's just stripped down, bare bone. And we're just going to make the best of it, okay? And get you through June as well as possible with what we've got, okay? So hang in. I'm almost done, and we're going to cut and read for you, dear Gemini. Remember, this is a broad report. It might sound like total nonsense, but if you check it out with your moon and rising and all the others, sun, moon, and rising, you can mush it all into one, hopefully, and it might make more sense for you, okay? So just give me another second here, and okay, I'm good to go. Right, let's have a look. I'm going to cut. All right, and here it is. Diving in. Okay, we're diving in, Gemini. Let's say this is you and your energy right now. Okay, coming into the month, and this is the other, their energy right now coming into the month. This is going deeper inside, Gemini. This could be hopes and dreams, obstacles, obstructions, self-sabotage. It could be information. We don't know. We're going to find out. And it's the same for the other. Like let's say, you know, pretend you're like a computer or a car, and you look under the hood. You're not just looking at the car. You want to know about everything deeper in, like open the doors, look inside. What is the operating system? How does the engine work? Is it a good engine, stable? Has it got all its fluids, everything cool? Same for the other. What's all going on? And here is the status of the relationship itself, whereby this constitutes a crucible, and this is the relationship. It's something that is owned by yourself and your significant other. And it's an investment, okay? And this is where things seem to be moving, given that investment, okay? So, also, for this particular month with these reports, we've been looking at like what I think of as the weather, the surrounding weather, which can be very nebulous or ambiguous, or it can be very specific and relating to you quite closely. Sometimes you might feel it's like nothing to do with you, but it is energy nevertheless, and it is there nevertheless. And sometimes it's energy that you might have brought in by invocation. So you feel like it's really in tune for you and with you, like the universe is smiling on you or frowning on you, however you want to interpret it. So let's have a look. Okay, it seems, Gemini, that you really want to get moving, get on with things, like almost like get to the truth of who you really are. And I'm seeing that almost like as a personal thing, rather than a relationship thing, first of all. And then in the process of discovering through who you are, through the environment of a relationship, it gets you the privilege of to discovering like who we are in the context of a relationship. And the thing is, a lot of that process of discovery and understanding and coming to the truth can often happen only in the context of a significant relationship where you have, let's say, just you've made a formal decision that, like it or not, for better or worse, you are with this particular being at this moment in time. Okay. And you've got it all. Like you've got the best of each other and the worst of each other. And in the process of evolution, you're realizing this is cool. Uh, I have a chance, Gemini, as this individual living in this relationship with a significant other, that I can seriously come to the truth of who I am. It's not just about who we are, what are we all doing, but this is almost the energy of reflection, where you can actually see and witness and experience what happens inside the crucible of relationship, where you are both there for each other, and when the other uh, essentially is acting as like a spiritual catalyst, uh, where they are in a state of deliberate or subconscious engagement with you to the point of like it's all about your own spiritual health and evolution, and from them it's also about their own spiritual health and evolution, and that happens in the context of the relationship in such a way that it can't really happen outside of a relationship. That's the beauty and blessing of relationships and why they are so terrifying and so rewarding, either both simultaneously or one at a time. And that's why fundamentally almost all of life is conducted through the dynamic of relationship. And Gemini, you're very aware of that energy because you already have the energy of duality inside you built in. You're very curious about what goes on and how it all works. Okay. So uh, let's just say, I'm talking a lot about this first card, and I don't know why, but it seems to get me fired up right now, where also um, this energy like that's surrounding can actually be a very like what I would think of as benevolent, to the point where you want to almost like shout it out, like I've discovered the truth about me and who I am, and it's very exciting. And please understand that it's happening in the context of relationship. It isn't all just about you. So please remember to acknowledge the other in this recognition of self. Okay. And go forth and share your new knowledge and wisdom and communicate the new knowledge and wisdom that you have absorbed and understood with authenticity. Okay, dear Gemini? So what's going on with you? More truth, more cutting to the truth, more end of bullshit, more end of whatever doesn't work. Enough is enough is enough. I have discovered that my first love and duty and responsibility and authority is to myself, me. Okay? I need to be authentically true to myself first and foremost before anything. Okay? And that includes matters of the heart and love. Okay? And we're not stripping this love or relationship down to an intellectual concept. Okay? We're talking about the energy of the heart here, although it really, really helps if you can communicate those energies clearly in a crystallized manner, the way that Gemini is very gifted at doing. So, Gemini, you might be in an energy field of yourself right now where you're really, really feeling like the energy of rising into your own authority, rising into mastery of words, mastery of communication, and the truth in communication, and not in any kind of trivialized manner, but at the very highest levels. It's almost like you've been to the mountaintop and you've come back down, and you are here with the rest of us plebeians, and you have a lot of information for us, and you carry the sword of authority and rulership and understanding. And it's almost like you now have a duty and responsibility to share with us what you know about love and relationship. All right, Gemini? So I'm sounding like a bit heavy there, like there's nothing romantic going on, but it's more to do with like some of the side effects and benefits of being in relationship. Okay, so what's going on with the other? Okay, um, on the other hand, this so-called significant other, they might be feeling like it's almost like it's been a bit of a one-sided situation. You might have, Gemini, you might have been enjoying a lot of your own evolution and your own um, growth and awareness and cutting to the truth of matters in your life and your world through the context of relationship, but it might have been occurring at the expense of another, okay? To the point where another might feel depleted or exhausted or wiped out in this relationship with you. Now, I'm not saying this is good or bad. It's just that in terms of just the raw energy of love and a relationship, um, it's really important to strike a balance so that there is a lot of equal give and take. And at the moment, it seems like you're really, really enjoying and benefiting from the situation, from the relationship. And that's great. And of course, in this reading here, it's not a private reading, so I don't know what's actually going on. You might be in the middle of a shitstorm for all we know. I'm just talking about raw energy, the broad energy fields around you. In other words, if you are in a shitstorm right now, despite all this good energy that I mentioned earlier, it might be that you're coming to this state of authority and wisdom and uh, like the feeling that you have the right to wear the crown and conduct yourself with this level of authority, and that's all very, very cool. It's just that in the process, perhaps in the last 6 months of getting there, like from perhaps when the sun was in its new moon in Sagittarius about 6 months ago, you might have sort of been living on a wave which was very much in your favor and riding it to your favor to the point of depletion of the other in the process. Now, this might not have been deliberate or no malice intended, but at this particular moment in this particular reading, that's what I feel obliged to call out, where the other may be, fully there and committed for you and with you, and understanding your struggles and desires to be who you are and rising to your highest levels of authority. But if you actually like took a moment to step aside and look deep into the relationship, the actual crucible of the relationship from the whole perspective, in other words, including yourself and the other, can you see this very contradictory energy here where it might be great for you, however, it might be a deep expense for the other. And that's not healthy. It's almost like um, um, taking advantage of another, okay? And that might be a next step in your own evolution, understanding that it goes both ways. It involves a tremendous amount of give and take and balance and finding equilibrium. And dear Gemini, I'm sure you would want that for yourself. In other words, if this was your reading and it came out this way, okay, is that what you would really want? Probably not. Okay. How would you enjoy to be on this side of the relationship here, where you're feeling exhausted, wiped out, depleted, like you're never ever going to make it? Am I ever going to get through? And then your other half is really having a blast, enjoying their own evolution and rising to their own power and truth. Do you see what I'm getting at? So anyway, let's move on. Let's look a little bit deeper, Gemini. What's going on inside? Okay. Well, you're obviously happy about this, even if it's a shitstorm situation, deep down, I'm feeling that you do have something that you want to celebrate and enjoy, but it might be just again with you and your buddies, so to speak, as opposed to the relationship. And what I feel here, again, with this relationship reading, is that you're almost ignoring the relationship itself, and yet you are reaping the benefits of the relationship. Again, a little one-sided and unbalanced. And okay, it looks again like there's a lot of love here, and you might be wanting to like share this like with the significant other, but they might not be understanding because you, dear Gemini, in all your best intentions, may not be fully aware of this aspect of your other half. In other words, your other half, this other significant person, may be conducting themselves as if everything is just fine because they don't want to piss on your parade, okay? Because they might love you enough or they want you to be all this wonderful stuff that you are. But the truth and the reality might be just the opposite, that they are feeling drained and depleted and perhaps used and worn out, and they wouldn't mind of having a bit of love themselves or a bit of like reciprocation. Okay. I'm not trying to hurt your feelings here or anything, Gemini. I'm just calling it out as I feel it and as I see it. And you can reinterpret everything however you wish, okay? That's why I ask that you, follow up with doing your sun, moon, and rising and then mush it all up. And also, please, again, read the uh, all signs introduction video. Okay, let's have a look. What's going on deep inside of them? Okay, they might be getting like, I mean, gosh, as a consequence of what's actually happening in your energy here. Remember, this is your reading for your love and relationship situation for June in the context of another. In a private reading, would be yourself and Tarot Illumination working together one-on-one. This would not be a lovey-dovey relationship reading where the two of you are sitting opposite here at the office facing Tarot Illumination saying, hi, we've come for a love reading. No, it is you, Gemini, saying here, hello, Tarot Illumination, I have come for a love reading. And I, Tarot Illumination, am responding by saying, well, okay, this is what I'm seeing. Now, in a dual reading, it would have come out completely differently. So in this situation, in your love reading relationship video for you, Geminis, again, remember, we're doing broad spectrum energy here. I'm not talking about necessarily you, dear Gemini, whoever is sitting there across the screen. In this context, in this little reading, you might be dealing with another half, your significant other, at a point where, because of this perhaps energy of depletion, almost to the point where they might just want to put the whole thing down and walk away. It's the energy of like I'm keeping going. I'm right there, but seriously, I am totally, utterly wiped out, and I don't even know if I'm going to make it through. And it gets you to the point for the other one where they are seriously doubting themselves and their whole love relationship with you. Okay, so I am splitting it up here. In other words, there's you and there's the other, but there is the relationship as a whole. So with your significant other, deep down, if you would take a moment and take all this, like, let's just say fun that you're enjoying out of your side of a relationship, and understand that it isn't just all about synastry. Like if this was an astrology reading, it would look to me like a synastry reading. Whereas I do the readings here through the crucible on the understanding that we're dealing with self and other and a relationship where the relationship has an identity of its own. Okay, and you are vested in the relationship and they are vested in the relationship, but the indication here is that it's more about what can I get out of the other one over here, and the other one is thinking like, man, I thought I was in a real relationship where we are both here for each other and we bring what we can to each other, instead of what are they trying to get out of me and what am I trying to get out of them. So there might be a level of like immaturity going on here, which might feel just okay for you, but from their perspective, they are seriously doubting and wondering what the heck is going on in my love relationship here. It's almost like they would want to, like, there's no way for them to figure it out, because it's almost like they are committed, but it's almost like they've committed to a full-on, what I would call like the being in the crucible, sharing that with you, where you're both ready, willing, and able to have a meltdown with each other and come out the other side again and say, wow, we are now stronger because of that. But what I feel that they are feeling is that they are in a crucible with you because that's how they are conducting themselves in the relationship, but you are behaving as though it's just a one-on-one relationship going this way. And it almost makes them like drunk and dizzy with misunderstandings, because it's totally incongruous. There's no congruity. It's almost like, hold on, let me see if I can get the chart. Stay there a second. It feels like, okay, I haven't done this with any other reports, but it's almost like you're conducting a relationship like this. There's you and the other, and they are conducting the relationship like this, where they're vested in the relationship, but they're getting the feeling that you're not. So it's almost like there's a puzzle going on here, because in a healthy relationship, where you're truly loving, committed to each other, you, dear Gemini, would be conducting yourself in an orderly manner through the context of the relationship in order to relate to the other in a healthy way. And you cherish and nourish the relationship instead of just taking care of yourself and minding yourself and extracting what you can from the other, or vice versa. So that's the dilemma that I'm sensing here. And because it's not working that way for the other person from their perception, it leaves you in a position where it might feel great, like things could be working out, and you want to be the boss of all this and of yourself and your like new unfolding coming through from the next 6 months, starting in your June Gemini uh, vortex energy field, especially triggered by this brand new Gemini new moon, excuse me. You might want to watch that video about the Gemini new moon, by the way. So we have a serious like disparity of energy here between self and other. It's really kind of like out of whack. Okay, there's definitely love here, except that from their perspective, the love is in jeopardy. The relationship is in jeopardy because it's almost like uh, it's like total confusion. It's almost like an optical illusion from their perspective, because when they come to the realization that, oh my God, I thought I was in a full-blown relationship, deep commitment, when I just realized it's just the other aspect of a relationship, as Tarot Lumination just showed on that little diagram. That's a problem. That's a serious problem for the other half, okay? So anyway, who knows? It might be just a learning experience for both of you as you go through this like wobbly vortex of your relationship at this moment in time. So we're going to check on the status of the relationship itself. Okay? Well, I wonder why this doesn't surprise me. This is almost like shocking realization about what's actually going on as opposed to what you thought was going on, Gemini. And this could be good news or bad news, however you take it, because the beauty of the tower, even though it can often imply like the complete collapse and destruction of everything that you thought was stable, and what I'm suggesting by that is you might have been conducting yourself with all sorts of wonderful understandings and knowledge and wisdom and truth about how you're conducting your life, only to find that the reality is that there's a whole level of evolution still ahead, and it can only be discovered in the context of a fully committed relationship. And so whatever did not constitute the ingredients of a fully integrated relationship is falling apart almost catastrophically. Okay. Now the beauty of that is that when everything collapses, it's almost literally like when you look at a house and it's just say it's riddled with termites from misunderstanding, and it's got all sorts of coatings and layers on it to make it look cute from the outside, and you get home one day and you just realize the whole house just kind of like tilted off sideways and half of it collapsed because everything was not stable in the foundations. It was just getting eaten away by termites innocently, unwittingly. It's like you never even knew, and it's like it's not your fault. So, like, let's say the relationship has a complete implosion, all right? It just kind of goes belly up. It just goes kaboom. And it's just like, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. I thought we were doing really, really, really well. And they're like, well, I've been here for you all the time, but obviously it's not in the way that you thought. And all the love that I have is deeply in question. And all that love that you want to celebrate with me, I mean, I get it, but frankly, everything is just falling apart. It's falling apart. And the beauty of that is when you actually witness the complete crumbling of the foundations and the falling apart, it can be an amazing opportunity for healing. Okay? That's the beauty of the tower. When everything collapses that no longer serves you, dear Gemini, it no longer serves the relationship, dear Gemini. It no longer serves the other. Then crash. It might feel as though fate is putting this upon you, but it's really just a consequence of your own evolution. So let's just say you're in a situation where You have all the hallmarks, ingredients of a loving relationship, and they are doing everything they can to conduct themselves in that manner. And yet you discover that deep down, deep in the foundation somewhere, despite all your newfound wisdom and truth and authority and your desire to share that and celebrate that, not only just with yourself and the other, but also with everybody in your world, like your friends, buddies, and family and everything, like share the love. If it's based on false foundations and it's starting to implode and collapse, then we've got a problem, okay? So let's just look at it positively. Like this could be an amazing opportunity for healing in the context of a relationship. So where does it lead? Where's the momentum going? Okay, it might lead to again, this is very kind of like, you might say, fated energy, where you come to a realization where everything that you thought had been put together in the context of relationship was done with all the best of intentions for the best will of yourself and the other, and only to discover through the journey of relationship that there's something fundamentally out of whack and it's falling apart and imploding. And it couldn't be any other way, because the tower relates truly to the laws of nature, the laws of attraction, the laws of physics. Like everything is exactly as it should be because it can't be any other way. In other words, the tower is inevitable. Okay? So you can't blame yourself. You can't blame the other person. You can't do anything except to accept the dynamics and the energy of the situation and make the best of it and learn from that and figure out how to move on again. You're starting a whole brand new Gemini cycle, a whole new yearly cycle in the very near future, right? It's happening right now, especially because you have a Gemini new moon in your favor. So in this situation, with the context of the relationship being very shaky, rattling, perhaps even like crumbling under your feet as we speak, it could expose some of the problems of the relationship that need attention and that need healing. And those issues could be anything to do with, let's say, well, there's so many ways that people call this card out, but you might have been in what you thought was a healthy relationship, but actually turned more, it was actually in real life more like a codependency issue, where there was a lot of little codependence. You might have been actually very codependent on the other, and they just, out of their kindness and love and generosity, allowed it all to happen, and you benefited accordingly. But that plan doesn't work anymore because it's depleted. That's not healthy, because this is like the energy of gorging, lustful energy of gorging on like self and the other, to the point of, you know, like what happens when you have too much sex or too much food or too much booze, or you smoke too much pot, too much weed, or you're very, 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 very highly advanced self-medicator, where you think you've got it all under control. You take exactly the right amount of caffeine and coffee and exercise and yoga and spinning bikes, and you've got all your relationships just lined up perfectly so that they all work as a sort of like beautiful self-medicating machine, and everything seems okay. But deep down, it's almost like a facade, okay? Almost like a Hollywood movie set where it looks fantastic, but you just touch this button over here or pull this little string over here, and the whole fucking thing just goes, and then you have to reset, okay? So that could be like a stark awakening, which maybe is long, long overdue. And that's cool. It also might indicate with this energy that you, dear Gemini, have been ignoring this side of the relationship to the detriment of the relationship. And now you might be stuck, or let's say locked into a relationship where things might be falling apart. And the obvious thing to do would just be like, oh, well, let's just let it fall apart and just walk away. However, it might be that you're seriously connected with the other person in a formalized way. Let's say you're married and you just realize that there's a big problem. Then that's a big problem because you're married. That's a legally binding tie, okay? It's on paper, people, okay? Now, if you're like, say, living together, or you're just in the early stages of sweetheart, lovey-dovey stuff, the same dynamics can occur. So it might be, for all this wonderful energy coming into June, it's almost like you're starting all over again, having to recalibrate on the understanding that a really, truly healthy, functional relationship is not all about strapping yourself to another person, or another person strapping themselves to you in order to extract whatever you can get out of them, almost like, how you feed off of each other, which is sort of what the energy of bondage can be. It's like it can be very satisfying. Like you might have a really good sex life or something, or you might love getting stoned together, or you're both self-medicators and you're both very good at it, and that's just how you've been conducting yourself. Fine, but in the end, um, there has to be kind of a balancing. It's almost impossible to conduct this energy perpetually, because it's 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 very it's a very, very demanding energy. And it's like, let's say you're an alcoholic or something, or you're very, very good with medicinal pot or something, and you think, oh, I've got it just right, I take just this amount to get totally blasted and wipe out anything that I don't understand it, but it's not enough for anybody to know that I'm a fucked up pothead. Okay, I'm talking about that kind of balancing act. But either way you look at it, you're still abandoning the the responsibilities of the relationship to a pattern of self-medicating as a way not to have to deal with the truth of the relationship. And so inevitably what happens is energy takes care of it. Let's just call it fate, or destiny just takes care of it for you, because you can't sustain everything like this forever. Okay, eventually all the cracks are going to show, but that's where the opportunity is. This is where you can have an amazing opportunity for healing. Okay, that's that's truly wonderful. So I'm hoping I didn't hurt your feelings and you can make something out of this that's good for you, and address these issues here, because this is a tremendous opportunity for both of you. Okay, all right, I've said enough. I hope I didn't hurt your feelings or say anything really insulting or all of that stuff. Please, Tarot Illumination is just a tiny little channel, and legally speaking, it's just for entertainment purposes. But the reality is, a lot of people come here because they want some understanding. Okay, so I'm doing what I can for you. Okay, Gemini, please make the best of it. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful June. Bye bye.